There can be no life without order. Good, evil, darkness, light. There must be balance in the universe. Such is the decree of the Charred Council, an ancient body charged by the Creator to preserve the very fabric of existence.
In the first Darksiders game, the player wielded the devastating Sword of War, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, featured in the Bible's mythology. In the second installment, the revered scythes of the Grim Reaper are yours to use to search out the truth about your brother and bring humanity back to life. The Darksiders series has a very distinctive yet familiar style of, well, everything to it. Some of the characters and enemies can be much larger and taller than others, often carrying huge weapons that other average characters in video games could not wield, except for in most Final Fantasy games, and, well, other unique games, mainly from Japan. Darksiders 2 is seemingly open with beautiful, endless appearing worlds, familiar style with relevant epic music from world to world, land to land, and dungeon to dungeon.
It's about time you came. The makers are...
The art style of Darksiders 2 has a very cartoonish yet trying to appear as though imaginable to exist just outside the bounds of us Earthlings. Darksiders 2, looking the same way as the first one did, looks exactly the same, which actually it would have been interesting to see different style of graphics for each different horseman, but yet that's just me. Darksiders 2 has a combined visual style of God of War and Legend of Zelda, and not only in appearance either. All the styles are an excellent fit for Darksiders 2. It looks great, big, and open for all exploration, until you fall off, and then Death's majestically bony wings foof out and guide you right back to land. One teensy, wee little thing that keeps the game weighed down just a bit are the slightly dated graphics, making the use of newer graphics 2 years later, this year, seem like an anal complaint. Battlefield. The musical score in Darksiders 2 is excellent and sends you right to hell when it appears to be heaven, and vice versa. The music soothes and pumps you up every place you travel. The game features awesome illustrations and initial loading screens. Then after the 15-second short loading time, the game menu pops up with some interesting view shots of death. When you hit continue, the camera turns around and then you can go ahead playing. That's something that actually blew my mind when I first saw it, because I've never seen it before. You won't get too confused unless you're into more realistic looking games. Then live a little and look at something new.
This has been the journey so far.
This is the story so far. So War gets thrown in jail for about 100 years following the premature beginning of the apocalypse. Death does not agree with this. He believes War is the most honorable member of the 4 Horsemen and would never prematurely begin the apocalypse. That's where the player comes in. You must set out to provide proof of War's innocence along with resurrecting humanity. This fairly decent and complex storyline takes a few turns to keep the interest abound. Just for reference, it has a linear story with the abundance of character dialogue that is more informative than game-changing. Darksiders 2 features many side quests to complete in order to learn more about the particular universe. Darksiders 2 gives you the Scythes of Death, literally, and with some secondary choices as well. The gameplay is very familiar to and on par with typical hack and slash games. If you look closely while playing, you may notice a bit of the obviously present God of War gameplay. That is not all. In fact, Darksiders 2 starts out that way, then begins a noticeable triple game hybridization. One little issue is the climbing obstacles can be difficult to find at times. Along with that, there is supposed to be a raven or crow that is supposed to guide you to your next location. He works well outside, but you should find your own way on the inside of dungeons. Most of the puzzles are aggravating when spending 10 minutes going back and forth just to find a solution that was right in front of your mask. The mishmash of God of War, Zelda, and a touch of Diablo is so perfect and cool, it's awesome stuff, guys, until it's time to jump through the golden hoops. If you can find them.
The mountain has a voice! How did you...
No, doesn't matter. You have done what I failed to do.
This game's layers of styles of a few other games and arranges them in a way that makes this particular game easy to enjoy, challenging to play, and familiar to the conservative part of many gamers. So this is easy to suggest a nice 5-night rent or Gamefly rent because it's long. Although not perfect, it's really good and you'll have many sweaty hand-cramping hours with it. Darksiders 2 earns a 5 out of 6 eggs.
His fate concerns me. Yours does not. All who live know my name. All who oppose me shall know.